Hello everyone, it's Comfort Beach and Beach, and today we're going to learn about PHP conditional statements and operators. Okay, so let's before anything, what I did here is I made sure that I created a file which I named conditional statements and operators.php. So we're going to start working on this file, new file which I just created. Okay. Let's go. So let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to, okay, so before anything, I always like to introduce each and every new concept. So let's start by defining what a conditional statement is and operators. So a conditional statement is more of a decision in programming. These are the decisions that we make when we are writing programs, when you are programming to be precisely. So these conditions, it can we just have to decide like. The decisions to say if this decision is like this, then this code should run. If this decision is like that, and then this should run. Let's take it for instance, whereby we have uh, this system whereby we only allow those users who are 18 years of age and above to create accounts. Yeah, so we need to add some of these conditional statements to say the current the unentered date of birth, is it is it above is it above, is it equal to or above 18 years? If it is, then that user is granted access to the system. Okay, so now the conditional operators, okay, like I said in the previous episode, the operators, these we use operators when you're dealing with mathematics, or when you want to perform some mathematics in programming. So same applies. We also have the conditional operators that we use, like if I want to compare, or if I want to see if this value is greater than or less than the other. So talking is always cheap. Let's see, let's get started. And sorry about my background, it's a little bit of noisy. PHP, PHP. Okay, so what do we do? Okay, let's say we have. Okay, so the scenario here is going to be, let's say we want to be checking the age. Okay, going to say comfort, comfort age is equals to 22. Uh, Gems age is equals to 24, and then uh Jen age is equals to, let's say, 16. So now what we want to do here is we're going to be performing some conditional statements here. Okay, so now the mostly in programming, the mostly used conditional statements are just the if statements and the switch statements. So we're going to start with the if statement. So, or let's start with the if statement. So if we want to perform some conditions with the if statement, we simply write if, okay, and then here. So it goes like this, and then code goes here. So let's take note of this. So here at the top, this is the heading and this is the body. So in the heading here, this is where we set the condition. This is where we set the condition from. Okay, like for instance, if I want to set the condition, if I want to check if a gen age is greater than 16. So uh, the condition operators that you are going to cover, they're going to be uh, better than, less than, greater, or 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 equal to, fourth, and less than or equal to. Okay, so now let's get started. Let's see. So we're going to start with greater than. Okay, so let's try to see if comfort is age is greater than that of Jen. So we're going to say if comfort age is greater than Jen age, and then here we're going to write down what should happen if comfort is age is greater than gen age. So we have introduced what we call the greater than operator, conditional operator, the greater than conditional operator. So what should happen here is it should display echo uh comfort is order, comfort is order. And then so well, when we're dealing with the if statements, we have what you call if else statements. So if this is not true, then what do we do? Let's go to another condition. Let's say we have like three conditions or two to say if comfort age is greater than Jen, this code should run. Or maybe let's say if Jen age. Okay, so let's say if comfort's age is less than, so this the less than, so the less than, which should be comfort age should be lesser. So for this code here to execute here, comfort age must be lesser than that of Jen here. Okay, so if we have a look at Comfort's age, it's 22, and that of Jen, it's 16. So if Comfort's age is less than that of Jen, then this one will execute. What if this one is not, what if this fails to execute? This is where we use else if, else. We're going to do an else if. Okay, so if this did not work, we're just going to do else if uh, comfort age is greater than uh, gems age. So if this is true, what you're just going to do here is uh, run this code if the condition if the condition is true, if the condition is true. Yep. So what we're just going to do here is if this is true, comfort's age is greater than gem's age, then this should run to say echo comfort is order order than gems. Oh, so yeah, comfort is older than gems, which is not true. As you can see, all that gems is older than gems is older than gems is older than comfort here. Comfort is 22 and gems is 24. So now, what if all of these now are not true? If all of these conditions are not true, this is where we use what we call an else. If all of these are not true, so now the code must terminate from here to say if the above conditions are not true, run this. So we're just going to say echo no condition, none of the above conditions is true. Okay. Yeah, so now let's see what you're doing here, and I'm going to explain more. Okay, okay, seems like we have run an odd file. Okay, PHP tools and then conditional. So none of the above conditions is true. Yeah, which is true. So as you can see, all of this echo has been skipped. This echo has been skipped, and this echo has been skipped. Why? Because the conditions that are in the headings of them are not true. So here we set the condition to see to say if comfort age is less than gen, and then comfort comfort is comfort is uh comfort is younger than gen, which is not true. Comfort is younger than gen. Comfort is younger than gen. Yep. So if comfort is age, so if comfort was younger than gen, this could have run. But since comfort is older than gen, this code will not run. As we can see here, comfort is 22 and Jen is 16. So now, if this one fails to run here, we go to another one of which you have added else if. Same thing applies here. In the heading, you set the condition, and here you set the code to run or to execute when the condition is true. Okay, so if comfort age is greater than gems, and then we're going to say comfort is older than gems, which is not true, which is not true. Okay, which is not true, as we all can see that comfort of which we can also say that we can see that comfort is younger than gem. So this is how we use the less than and greater than. So now let's now talk about the equal to, the equal. Okay, so now let's see if we have two values where I want to see if that value is the same as the other value. Let's say mm, lucky lucky age is equals to 22. Lucky age. So what we are just going to do here is we're going to add another else if on top of else. We're just going to say else if else if else if okay, else if comfort age is equals to lucky age, and then what should we do if comfort age is the same as ages or as lucky age? So if we want to check if the values are equal or are equivalent to each other, we use the double equal to sign or the double assignment operators. Yeah, so it so I'm going to comment runs here code runs here code runs here. Yeah, so here it should just display to say comfort has the same age as lucky. Yeah, which is true here in our code if we try to check. Okay, so this should now display comfort has the same age as lucky. So how these conditional if statements work is like this. If this condition is true and then the code just terminates from here and it will never go down here. See? And if this one is false, or if it's not true, if this condition is not true here, and then it goes to the next step to check is if it checks another condition to say is comfort age greater than gems age. If this condition is true, if this condition is true, this code runs here and it terminates from here without going down below or without focusing on the upper code. So what if this is true, this one runs, but since it's not true, it goes to the next. Okay, it checks else if comfort age is equals to lucky. So if this is true, then the only code that is going to run among these other conditional statements here is just going to be this one, this only, this code, and not this else here. But if this was not true, or if this condition was false, this code could have run. We use else to set a default condition, to set a default statement of code to run if the conditions are not true. So there are no limit in PHP. There are no limitations of how many else if statements you can use. So if you wanted to, you can add as many else if a number of them until when you feel like you are satisfied. But with the else it just has to be one since it's the default code. What exactly evaluates when the conditions are not true or when the conditions have not been met. Yeah, so okay. Okay, so now we have talked about the equal to of making the comparisons here. Okay, There's also this scenario here. Let's say if we want to check like the edge here, edge checker, edge checker. Okay, so I'm going to start another code here, and a fresh code. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the others. I'm going to get rid of, yeah. Okay, so let me just leave it. So I'm just going to comment it out so that it can be used in the reference edge checker. Okay, I've commented it out. So edge checker. So with this edge checker, what we're just going to check is we're going to see if a certain edge is equal to or greater than 18. You see? Okay, so we have covered the greater than, the greater than and the less than comparison operators, and the what's this, and the equal to, where is the equivalency, where I want to find when that we use when I want to find the equivalency of certain values or digits, or if one, yeah, of certain values of variables. Yeah, so let's see. So now let's take it for instance. You see, if you notice what we're doing here is, we're just saying if comfort edge is greater than James edge. So which means it has to be above a step. It doesn't have to be exactly. So now, what if we have set a limit to say at least the edge should be uh, of 18. So which means we are just going to use something which is called equal to or greater than. What that really means is that equal to, which means we have set 18. So which means if we have said to say the edge must be 18 and above. So 18 and above will be equal to, so the value, the edge must be equal to 18 or greater than 18. So that's where equal to or above 18 comes in. So we simply use the greater than or equal to. So we just say if, okay, we're going to say edge one is equals to, edge one is equals to, let's say 15, and then edge two is equals to 18. Edge2 is equals to 18. Okay, so now what we're just going to do here is you're going to use a greater than or equal to comparison operator. So we're just going to say if uh, edge, let's try to check edge one first. Let's see if edge one is greater than or equal to 18. So we're just going to say if edge one is greater than or equal to 18, and then echo you can now log in. You can now log in. Else, it's just going to display. So if this condition is not true, what it's just going to evaluate to is this one. That's where we use else. If the conditions are not true, we use else. So we're just going to say error, you must be at least 18 years of age to log in. Okay, so now let's see what we're doing here. So I'm going to start my XAMP. Okay, so error. So if we refresh, we have seen error. You must be at least 18 years of age to log in. So if we try to check, so here what it was trying to do here is this age one. Is it 18 years? Is it equals to 18 years? No. Is it greater than 18 years? No. So if we use equal to or greater than, it simply means we are checking for two conditions. Is it equals to 18 years? No. Is it greater than 18 years? No. So if this is false or if it's not true, it goes to else. Yeah. Okay. Now let's also now talk about less than or equal to. So we use less than or equal to comparison operators when you want to see if the value is equal to a certain set value, or if it's below that certain value. Okay, so now I'm going to comment out this so that it doesn't display. Okay, so I'm going to say less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Okay, so now let's go. So let's say we have there's a certain company like it only accepts those edges. Let's say in between the 18 and 45 years. If you're okay, yeah, okay. So let's say it only accepts. So let's say it only accepts those age. At least you have to be below 45 years. You have to be you have to be 45 or below 45 years of age. Yeah. Let's say we have a certain occasion where the only ages that can be allowed to enter are just 45 years and below. So here we could just say age 1 is equals to age 1, let's say it's equals to 45, and then age 2 is equals to 60. Okay, so now let's now try to use these if else statements to see, to check if these edges are equal to or less than 45. So we're going to say if let's start with edge 1 here. If edge 1 is less than or equal to uh 45, and then what should it do? It should uh, display it should display echo. uh, yes, you can enter, you can enter, you can enter. And then if it's not true, what do we do? Display error. You must be 45 years of age or below. So now let's try to see our code here and see exactly what's happening. Okay, yes, you can enter. So if we try, so what you're trying to do here is you're trying to check if edge 1, which is 45, if we check edge 1, which is 45, is less than or equal to 45, which means we are checking for two conditions here. Is it equals to 45? If it is equals to 45, this will run with, this will get executed. And if sorry, if it's equal to 45, this code will run, or if it's less than 45, this code will run too as well. So we're checking for two conditions here. Okay, so that's with the, edge 1. Now let's try to test for edge 2 here. Edge 2, edge 2, let's test for edge 2. Okay, so if we see if edge 2, so I'm not going to say anything about this. Our code is going to tell us, okay, my XMP misbehaves these days. Okay, so error, you must be 45 years of age or below. So if we see here, age 2 is 60 years, which is above 45, which is above 45. So this gentleman of age 2 here, which is 60, cannot attend this event because his age so his age is above the minimum. Okay, now let's also talk about another thing which I forgot. The things that I forgot here, the and oh. Okay, so let's say we have uh, let's say we have 31 is equals to 45, 25. name is equals to Jack. Value 3 is equals to James. Okay, value 2 is equals to James. So now let's see, we have okay, so here we have two. Okay, so let's say I'm going to name this one as email. Okay, let me name this one as username, and this one password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's say that we have this system here, which is saying, okay, so and then let me add email, which is equals to jack at gmail.com. Jack at gmail.com. So okay, so what we are going to do here is we are going to be performing two conditions at once. Two conditions at once. So what do we do here? We're just going to say if, and then here uh we're going to say if username. Okay, so what we're just trying to achieve here is, let's say we have, let's assume that in a scenario where we have this system which does require authentication, and in authentication we can't just pick the username. So this authentication requires either username username or email and the password, you see. So we can't just perform one operation. In the previous in the previous steps, we're just performing one operation. So here, let's say let's perform a checker to say if username is equals to Jack and password is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's do that. So if uh, username is equals to, so like I said, we use the double equal to sign if we want to find the equivalency. So if username is equals to Jack and, okay, so if username is equals to Jack and password is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this code should execute to say echo uh, you can now log in. Okay, now what if this is not true? This is where we use the else echo error invalid invalid login details invalid login details. Okay, so now what you're just trying to do here is you're trying to check if the username is correct and the password at once using, okay, so we use this and these ampersands, we use the double ampersands to check to see, so which means here this and this must be true, you see. So which means the username must be Jack and the password must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If the username is James and the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it will not work. Why? Because it's expecting username and password to be like this at the same time. It's expecting Jack, the username Jack, and password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at once without without any mutual exclusiveness. So let's go. Yeah, so let's see what you are going to have here. Okay, let me restart my XAMPP. Okay, you can now log in, which is true. So if we try to check here, the username is Jack. Sure, and the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What if the password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I put some zeros here, which is an invalid password? So if we check using our eyes here, we can see that the password is not this zero, but instead it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this will not run because we are checking for two things here: the username and the password. So these two must appear as they are. So Jack. So first start with Jack. Is the username equals to Jack? If it is, then we go to password. Is the password equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is the password equal to this one? If it's not, we go to else. Yeah. So let's now try to run the code. We are going to see that it will display error invalid login credentials. Okay. You can now log in if password. Okay. If username is equals to Jack and okay, let's try to enclose them in brackets. Okay, in brackets. Okay, if the password is equals to why is it like okay why and if password is equals to okay you can now log in if username is equals to Jack. Okay, so error invalid login credentials and okay here it's now achieved here to say if the username is equals so as we can see here the username is not the username is not Jack but there's a missing K and the password is invalid here. The password is not as we are expecting it to be. So it brings this. What of in a scenario whereby we want to be using, okay, in a scenario whereby, okay, I think for the end, we can end from here. Now, the only last remaining part is, uh, okay, what of in a scenario whereby we're expecting the username to either be Jack or James. Jack or James. Okay, so which means these two must appear. So we're going to say if um, username if username is equals to Jack, you see Jack. So the username must either be Jack or James. So we're going to say or. For or you could either use this or by just using these two or uh, username is equals to Patrick or username is equals to comfort again and again and again. So we can add as many O's as we want. Okay, so now what do we do here? If it's true, echo yes. The username is correct. The username is correct. The username is correct. What if there's nothing here? Just going to say echo. The username is invalid. Is invalid. Yeah, so this is how we use the or. We just simply try to pick like a certain value from a collection of values here. So it's expecting username to be Jack or Patrick or Comfort. So the username must be any of these. So if even if I change it to Comfort, you're going to find that it will work. Okay, going to find that it will work. Okay, so the username is correct. So now what if we put something that is not there like Zenge? So it will not work because it's expecting the username to be Jack or Patrick or Comfort here. And here we have put Zenge, which is not true. So if we try to put Comfort here, we're going to find that it will work and it's going to display uh, some positive information. Okay, yes, the username is correct. So this is how we deal with the if else statements in PHP. And in the next episode, you're going to talk about the switch statements, of which there are also another common conditional statements in PHP. And thank you for this long episode, guys, and see you in the next episode. Cheers.